Hey everybody, we're going to be working on a ink watercolor tumbler tonight from the Tim Holtz, a mixative in a gold that I'll do the gold leafing type streaks with. So I'm going to turn you down. On this cup I've already done part of it, and I'm going to turn so that we could work on that. And if you will, just bear with me with the internet. They are going to come out and make some upgrades, but I just haven't been able to get them here yet. So we're hoping the upgrades will help. So maybe it will sort of level itself out as we go into the live. I know everybody that I was watching today was having the same problem. So maybe we can get it straightened out. So just hang in there with me and we will get it straightened out. So I'm going to turn you down and we'll talk about this light and see if maybe that helps with the glare. It may not. I don't know if that's better. Let me get you up where I can read some comments and then you can tell me if it's better with it or without it. I see it still keeps going in and out, but we're going to see if I can get you on here so we can see what's happening. I don't know why it's not letting me pull you up on when I go into our, let's see, into the group, but it did that last time. It wouldn't let me see it in the group, but it's slow. But let's see if we can get it to come up and we'll see what's going on. Maybe cross your fingers. But I know that it has a glare on it with that light, and I was hoping maybe it wouldn't have as much of a glare if we turn the light out. So we'll try it this time without the light, and then next time you can tell me if you like it better with the light. Now this one, I went ahead and prepped it. I taped the top and bottom. I sanded it. I painted it white. And then I put white glitter on it. And you can see the white glitter. It's not showing too good, but anyway, it's just any white glitter will do. I don't even know where this glitter came from. It's one that I've had for a long time, but it's a white glitter. And then even with this that I've already done, I can go back and change any of this graining on it. But what you'll want for the gold that we're going to do, you want a tiny paintbrush. I don't know if you can even, maybe there, maybe you can see it better, but it's a tiny one. And then this is the one that we'll be using for everything else that we're doing. It's not a very big brush at all. And then I have a container with alcohol in it. So you need that. And I'm going to show you how we can just manipulate it and play with it a little bit now. I always use a card, as you know. I've written down all the inks that I'm using. You can use any color ink combinations that you want to use. This is just some that I picked out. So use any combination that you want. So we're going to get started. And I'm just going to use alcohol right quick. I'm going to go ahead and put gloves on. But I'll use alcohol to begin with just to show you how, even though this has been done for a couple of days, I think or maybe more, I did it Saturday, I think, to get ready for the live. And I'm going to show you how I can go now and change anything on it that I want to. If there's something about the ink that I don't like, just by using my brush and just alcohol. So let's say right in here I want to change the way that this looks. I can go in just with alcohol on my brush, and you can see how I can move these lines over. I can get rid of them completely. You don't want to, if you want to move a lot, use a lot of alcohol. If not, then you just want to use a little bit. And you can just keep pushing it and pushing it. And like this right here, if I want to push it over, I can start pushing it over and then make a more distinct line. And I'm hoping you can see it. Let me see if I can get you pulled down maybe a little bit more. Maybe that's where you can see it. But you can just use your brush with just the alcohol on it. And you just keep playing with it and pushing that ink to make your grain. Push it where you want it. and you can make the grain more distinct, or you can do away with it completely if you want to. If it's one you don't like, you can just take a rag with alcohol and wipe it off completely. These, you can go in and lighten them, make them smaller, just by putting alcohol on your brush, as long as you have not sealed it in any way. Now once you seal it, then you can't make any changes on it. Let's see, I've not put any more alcohol on here. There's still enough on here that I'm still making a little bit of a difference in the way this looks. But I'm going to show you too. I'm going to take this spot right down through here, and you can go back and you can just do away with it completely if you want to. Just clean it up, and then you can go back in and start and make any kind of grains that you want to, just by cleaning it up. But what we're going to do tonight, now you can do it several different ways. I've seen people take a sponge and just dab their colors all over it and then go back and do their graining. I like doing it all at one time. So I just take my color and put just a very little bit on there, and then you start manipulating it to do whatever kind of a grain you want it to do. And this one we're going, see, I think I'm trying to make sure I got it in the screen. It still hasn't come up on my computer for some reason. And then if I want to lighten it, sticky. And what I'm doing, I'm putting my brush in the alcohol, and then I'm dabbing it on a piece of paper. And that gets some of it out, so you won't have too much. And you can see how it changes the color. And you just have to keep playing with it. And this does take a good while, so when you're doing a cup like this, remember you need to price them. Don't do them for nothing, because your time is worth something. And that's the thing about doing this type cup. They're custom, and they're a design that you do and spend a lot of time working on. And you can keep making your grains smaller, ever how you want to work with it. And now we're going to go with a blue. I think I'll put a little bit more. And this one, we're just going to run it down. And we'll see what that comes up to. And you just have to play with it yourself and work with it and develop your own technique. Like I've told you many, many times, everybody's different, and everybody does tumbler making in a different way. And just because we all don't do it the same way doesn't mean it's the wrong way. We just all develop our own techniques. And I'd like to see any of you that are new, you develop yours. And it's a lot of trial and error. I can assure you of that. Because you make a lot of boo-boos along the way, but you learn. And that's the reason I said it's real important that you get you a notebook, write down what you use, keep up with. There's so many things that can change the way your epoxy cures, the temperature in your room, temperature of the epoxy, the humidity. You may do what you think exactly the same thing that you did a time before, but it comes out totally different. So that's why it's important when you first start, especially, to keep you a notebook and keep up with what you're doing. I know a lady that I have watched before, I think she said she had 4 or 5 notebooks full of notes. So it's good to keep notebooks. And then I've learned I like the way that I do the cards, because I can always then go back and see when I'm trying to recreate a cup that I've already done, I can go back with that card and I know what colors I used, because I don't know about you, but I can't remember. I've done so many, and everybody wants something a lot of times a little bit different. And I'll usually, whatever customer that I do a design for, I'll put their name on the card somewhere too. So that will help jog my memory a little bit more about it, why it may have been different from somebody else's that's the same design, but the colors may be a little bit different, or the font may be a little bit different. So always, always. And we have a vendor that is Black Bear Glitters, and they are taking a lot of the videos that I've made and putting them on their YouTube channel, so you can see a lot of the videos there, but we save them always in this group too, but you can go back and see them in that group. And now this line, if I want to push it and make it a little bit more wiggly, I can just keep working with this and working with it so it's not such of a straight line, and thin it down just a little bit. And just keep playing with it and keep messing with your ink. And you know, when you're doing marbling, the grains they're so different, they just go every which way. So you can always go back and fix the grains to make them do a little bit more of what you want them to do. Give it a little bit different look. And the colors, if you want to use all blues, you can. All purples, whatever you like, that's what matters. And when you rub it on the cup too, that way it gives a color for that glitter shine through. So here we're going to have a little bit different look. Let's go back and see what we can do with this one. And the ink dries really fast, so most of the time you don't have to worry about it smearing unless you put your hand right on it as soon as you've put it on the cup. And it's very forgiving because, like I showed you before, you can go back in and you can actually rub most all of it off. Some of the colors are a little bit harder to get off than others, but you can usually get enough of it off that you can go back and make it look ever how you want it to look. I like this technique too. It's just time consuming. It's sort of like the tie-dye. And there's some that you just got to take your time with. And then some that you can figure out a way to make it quick and very quick and easy. And that's usually something that I like. And you can do this with a full water slide. Find you a marbling paper or photo and copy it on your copier onto water slide paper, clear water slide paper, and then you can put it on your cup. Much easier if you have a cup that is a straight skinny, that's the same color all the way around. Where you can see it. It makes it much easier than it does on a tapered cup. A tapered cup, you have to work with it a lot more. Same way if you're using fabric on a tapered cup. It's a lot easier if you do it on a straight cup. I've done it on Yeti style cups, the first ones that came out with fabric, and I got it to work, but it's a lot of stretching and a lot of smoothing, because if you don't get it smoothed down, you'll have wrinkles in it. Now let's get this vein right in here. I'm going to try one more time, y'all, to see if I can get you to come up on the computer, because I'm not looking up to tell if it's going on and off. So I don't know if it is or not. And there we go. I think I found it. Okay. I do have it now. I can't really tell yet if the lighting's better, if you can see it better without a glare with that overhead light being off or not. But y'all can give me some feedback on that. You let me know what you think. If it works better for you, if you can see it better with that off. If you'll notice right in here, you can see where the ink pooled on it and ran a little bit. You can just wipe that off. Then when you go back, now you can do this on just a plain white matte cup without the glitter, but I've not seen anybody do it on a glitter base, so that's the reason I wanted to try it on a glitter base and see how different it looked with glitter. And I think I like it. With the glitter. Now we'll give it a little bit of this color. And before you do your mixative with the gold, to put some gold grains in it, you will want it to be completely dry before you use that. And that mixative, you can manipulate it a little bit, but it's not as easy to do as it is with just the ink. So just keep that in mind when you start using it. And when we do it, I'll go back and do some on the part over here that's dry. I've done just a few spots. There's a spot right in here. I don't know if we get it to where it'll shine in the light where you can see it or not. But there's several on there that I've done that you can see. A lot of people will do it. They'll put, take a brush and brush Mod Podge on there, and then they'll put mica powder, or they'll put, if they're doing just the ink on a white base, they'll do glitter. I've seen them do it with foil, put Mod Podge on it, and then take the foil and put on it the foil flakes. So like I said, there's many ways that you can do it. And you just keep working with it and keep pushing it in very slowly. Can't get in a hurry. And when you do that, that's when you get your grains in there. And then in some places you want some of the color to stay lightly in the background. You can see places where I've left the color in the background. And then if you think your grain's too thick, you can go in and keep working with it and smooth it out some. Now let's use some purple. And you may have to go back in and get some more ink in your container, because you don't realize, not ink, I'm sorry, alcohol, because you don't realize how much alcohol you're using, putting it on your brush and then dabbing it off until you actually start working with it. And you just work with it the way you want to make it look like you want it to look. Like I've told you, a lot of things that I do, I will print a photo of a background. If you wanted to print a photo of a marble countertop, a vase, or whatever you've seen that has a look that you like, just use it. And go back and use it and watch it and look at it and use that for your technique and your design. Because it's your cup. Especially when you're making your first one, just to get down the technique that you want to use to do it. Now when you start doing one for a customer, then they're going to tell you what colors they want and what they have in mind. And I will be getting in some more glitters soon, and we'll be doing some more glitter cups and designs. I've got one that I'm working on that's going to be an army wife, and I found some paint to do it in acrylic, make it an army green, so I've got it sitting over there in an army green color, and then she's wanting a fall glitter on the bottom and army wife on the top. So we're going to see how that one's going to come out. Before I get off tonight, I'll show you something I've been working on for the Sheriff's Department. I've done several tumblers for them. My son designed the decals for their cars. They've changed the decals on them, and so I've done several tumblers based on those and got one to do now. But they also bought model cars that are just like their cars and their SUVs that they use, and they wanted them decaled like their real cars and their real SUVs. So I worked on 2 of those today. So that's something else that you might want to think about. There's all kind of avenues out there that you can work on once you learn to do the decals and the designing. Now these also, a lot of people do them on wine glasses, insulated wine glasses, and I'm sure it'd be beautiful on a glass, wine glass or vase or any kind of a cup you wanted to put it on. But for it to show through on a glass, wine glass or tea glass, water glass, this technique would be beautiful. And the thing about doing it on glass, you can go to your Dollar Tree and get all different sizes to work on and practice on and not have a lot of money in it until you get your technique down like you want it. And I wish I could work and read at the same time, but I can. And it doesn't look like, when I'm looking over now, that you can see. I don't know what I'm going to do about the lighting for that. We're going to have to figure out something so that you can see better what I'm doing on. Let me hold it up like this so you can see a little bit better what I've been working on. All of this in here is what I've been working on tonight. And you can see it better when I hold it up. We're going to have to figure out some kind of light to help with the glare. We'll work on that too and see if we can figure out something about the glare so that you can see better. I don't know what's causing it to where the lighting's not working, because I want to get it to where go spend your time watching that you can see it and really see what's being done. Because I know your time's important like everybody else's is, and you spend time watching to learn a new technique or see something you can pick up on to maybe develop yourself. You want to be able to see it to where you can tell what it is and what you can do with it. You can just do all kind of squigglies. That doesn't look like it would be much, does it? And that's what I'm going to go in and then work on it and make some actual just veins out of it. And that's why I said a lot of people will just take a sponge and sponge the cup all over with the colors of ink they want to use, and then go back with just regular alcohol and a brush and work on the veining. I'll show you now how that's working, so get a little bit better look. I just sort of smeared it on there, but yet I'm going back and working it into a vein. And you see how that spot's changing as I'm working on it. And you try it with just the paint and see how you like it, and try it using the glitter and see how you like it. I didn't know how it would work doing it on an epoxy cup, but I think it's turning out just as pretty doing it on the cup with epoxy. The epoxy, you have to smooth it with the epoxy over the glitter, but I love the way the glitter is shining through. Now let's put maybe a sky blue. That one is sailboat. And that's what I'm going to be working with. Now I'll ask around and see what we can do about the lighting, so when I'm working on it we can maybe get some kind of a filtered light so it won't have a glare and you can see it a little bit better. Now you can see, I'll show you a little bit step by step how I'm doing it. And I'm just going in now and thinning these lines down a little bit. so they won't be quite as thick. Make them look a little more like a vein. And you can see. And I always, when I dip my brush in the alcohol, then I always put it on the ink pad, which is just a paper towel, to get some of the alcohol off, unless I'm wanting to actually take some off of the cup. And then you can put it on there full strength. And if you've got a spot that you just really don't like and you can't get it to do anything you want it to, then you can take your brush and dip it in the alcohol and put it on there and help wipe some of it off. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Let's try a little bit right here, not much. Just a tiny tad. Just to give it a little bit of color right in there. And like I said, you work with it and make it look the way you want it to look. And this is definitely a cup that no two will be the same. And that's for sure. Okay, I think that may be about all I do to that one. Now we'll go back and look at doing some of the mixative in gold. And this one, you hear it, it has a bead in it. It has to be shook up really, really good. And I have just a piece here of backing where I pulled it off of vinyl that I'm going to put just a drop or two of this on there and put my brush in it to do the veining, because I don't want it to be heavy. I want it to just be a feathery touch when I do the gold, and you don't want it all over your cup, just in a few places. Let's see. Oh, this is what I worked on earlier, so I know this is dry. And I've got some on my brush, and I'm just barely touching. And when you put your brush in it, then you want to wipe most of it off. So, and I don't know if that's catching where you can see it or not, but it just puts a little bit of gold in there. Just a little touch. You don't want a lot. You just want it to pick up a little bit of gold in it every now and then. And just in sporadic places on your cup. I can't tell if it's picking it up where you can see it or not, y'all. And like I said, you can do it with Mod Podge and gold flakes. You can do it with gold paint. But this works really good, I think, because I don't want a lot on here. I just want it so occasionally the light will pick it up. Just in a few spots. And then you'll want to let it dry. If I were doing this in the morning, I'd let it dry until afternoon, or either dry it in front of a heater on the turner. And you can go back in if you get your line. If you can see that one right there, it's a little bit heavier than I want it. Go back in with your ink in the same way, clean your brush off, and then go back in and just get you a little bit of the alcohol on it. And with the alcohol, then you can go back in and thin it down. It's not as easy to thin down as the regular ink is. But now you can see where I made it into just a very small line. And you can go back and add this after you've done your cup, let it set for a few days, whatever you want to do, you can go back and add it. That's up with you. And this one I'll have to decide what quote or whatever I want to put on it. This one is not sold, it is for sale. Most of the ones that I do on lives, they're not orders. Sometimes I'll do one that's an order, but most of the time it'll be cups that will be for sale. So I think I've got enough on there. Make this one a little bit smaller. But that's all that we can do for tonight. See what that looks like. See if it's something that you like. You may not like it. You may not want to try one like that. Everybody's different and everybody likes to do different things. But that's one that I call ink watercolor. Call it watercolor because it looks like watercolor paint on a canvas would, but it's done with ink. Y'all have a good evening, and then next time you see us, I'll post a event and we'll do part 2, which part 2 we'll just put the epoxy on it. And can't put a decal on it until I put epoxy on it, because I don't, if I have to place my decal and move it around some, it could possibly pull the ink off. And I will not, I don't think I am going to seal this. I usually don't seal my inks, so this one might just be something if we don't seal it and it runs, well then we'll know next time that we need to seal it. So might be something we'll just check it out together and see what to do. So that's all for tonight, and I hope y'all enjoyed that one, and y'all have a great evening, and I will post another event when we proceed on this cup. So y'all have a good evening, and do some tumblers now. Good night.